Hello, future administrators. Welcome to today's GS3 Explainer. Look, we're diving straight into a massive macroeconomic intervention by the Union Cabinet today, the 10,000 crore rupee AFT Price Stabilisation Fund. This is one of those topics you absolutely need to nail down for your economy and infrastructure paper, mostly because it perfectly connects global geopolitical shocks right down to our everyday domestic infrastructure. So let's unpack this together.
Absolutely. Now, you've probably seen the headlines regarding the escalating West Asia conflict, but as aspirants, you have to connect the dots here. This isn't just an international relations issue. It is a direct, massive macroeconomic shock to India's domestic aviation. The situation got so bad that the government literally had to step in overnight just to cushion our scheduled airlines from a complete operational breakdown.
Right, and to really grasp the sheer gravity of this shock, just look at this number, 250. Because of this sudden fuel crisis, aviation giants like Air India, its low-cost wing Air India Express, and Indigo had to abruptly slash 250 daily domestic flights starting in June. I mean, that is a colossal hit to our transport infrastructure, and naturally, it's a direct catalyst for skyrocketing airfares for the common man.
So what actually triggered this domino effect? Well, the root cause is surging international prices. And remember, when you're writing your mains answers, just stating prices went up won't cut it. You need the exact quantitative data to back up this infrastructure bottleneck if you want to impress the evaluator.
Exactly. And the sheer velocity of this price jump is just mind-boggling. We're talking about International Aviation Turbine Fuel, or ATF, prices exploding by nearly 2.5 times. It went from a relatively manageable 60.5 rupees per liter in March to a staggering 142 rupees per liter by May. Just a massive spike in literally 2 months.
Now, how does that actually hit the airline's balance sheets? Here is a golden statistic for your essays. Normally, ATF makes up about 40% of an airline's operating costs. But during this kind of extreme fuel volatility, it can shoot up to a crippling 60% of their total operating expenditure. That is easily enough to bankrupt a domestic carrier if left unchecked.
Right, so to protect everyday commuters from absorbing that massive shock, the government initially capped domestic ATF prices at 75.6 rupees per liter. But this leads to a brilliant concept you must know for your exams, under-recovery. Because of this artificial price gap, our state-run oil marketing companies, the OMCs, were just bleeding money. They faced a steep under-recovery, literally a direct loss of 30 rupees on every single liter of ATF they sold to domestic carriers.
Yeah, and you can't just bleed the OMCs dry forever, right? The continuing crisis obviously needed something way bigger than just temporary price caps. And that brings us to the actual policy intervention. This was designed as a much-needed, urgent rescue mechanism to stabilize the whole sector and basically prevent a total collapse of our domestic flying operations.
Okay, so the cabinet rolls out this 10,000 crore rupee ATF Price Stabilisation Fund. Definitely jot down these specific criteria for your prelims and mains. First, it's a one-time budgetary support. Second, the money goes straight to the OMCs, not the airlines themselves. Third, it is structured as an interest-free advance. And finally, it covers our scheduled airlines for both their domestic and international operations.
The Union Petroleum Minister really hit the nail on the head here regarding the core intent. As future administrators, you've got to appreciate this two-pronged approach. On one hand, the government is saving this absolutely critical aviation infrastructure from falling apart. And on the other, they are actively shielding the end consumer, the common passenger, from massive fare spikes caused by a geopolitical mess happening thousands of miles away.
Now we get to the real meat of the topic. This is arguably the most critical part for a high-scoring GS3 answer, the revolving fund implementation. You might be wondering, how does this actually work on the ground without permanently draining the government's exchequer? Well, the genius of it lies in its self-sustaining structure.
It really is a smart setup. Here is how the cycle works. Step 1. An MOU is signed between the OMCs and the participating airlines. Step 2. Those airlines are now strictly locked into buying ATF only from these specific OMCs, either for up to 3 years or until the advance is fully recovered. And Step 3. The magic step. Once global prices finally cool down, the government recovers that differential amount from the OMCs and puts it right back into the public exchequer. It's brilliant.
All right, so we've broken down the global shock, the hard data, and this highly innovative policy fix. So here is your GS3 mains practice question on the screen. Take a screenshot of this. Structuring an answer to this will not only prep you for mains, but it'll give you phenomenal talking points for your UPSC interview. But before we go, think about this. Does a revolving fund actually solve our core dependency on imported oil, or is it just a very clever Band-Aid? Think about that. Keep analyzing, study hard, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.